watching Ladies in the Locker Room. Today, we're at Tony's Sports Bar and Grill on Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell, Georgia. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's your Pigskin Pixie. Next up, your Sports Quickie.
What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, it's Hattie from Ladies in the Locker Room. Well, college basketball started today. College basketball. Not the NBA, but college basketball. Still no word yet on the NBA lockout. The players are getting real antsy. I heard a few of them may be going overseas to play ball. And hey, why not? Doesn't seem like America wants them to play ball. The players, owners, can't seem to come together, can't seem to split this money fairly, so they decide nobody makes money. I don't know if that's the way to go, but that's the way it's going right now. Let's hope that they can resolve this and we can have some kind of season this year, but it doesn't look good. All right, moving right on to some NFL action. NFL, the National Football League. This Sunday was week 9, and let's talk about the Falcons first of all. The Falcons, they had a bye week last week, and they came back looking well rested. Even though they played a team who hasn't won a game, didn't matter. Sometimes those are the games that they lose, but not this week. This week they came out and looked like the Falcons that we like to see. It was really awesome. Julio Jones scored his first touchdown in the NFL. I told you in the beginning of the year, Julio Jones was the name I was going to enjoy calling, and he's doing a phenomenal job. The Falcons came out, they played hard, they looked rested. Coach, we talked about that last week. How are they going to come out? Some teams, they get a bye week and they come back and they maybe party too much. The Falcons came back, they looked well rested, they played a good hard team. On to next week. Next up, let's talk about my men. Now you know, ladies love men. Ladies in the Locker Room love the NFL guys. So let's talk about my leg man. Ladies love legs man. Willis McGahee of the Denver Broncos. Rush. He had 20 rushes for 163 yards, 2 touchdowns, which helped Tim Tebow get his second win. And his longest yard was 60 yards. His longest rush was 60 yards. And my good hands man goes to none other than Julio Jones. Told you I love saying that name. Julio had not one, but 2 touchdowns in yesterday's game. He had 3 receptions for 131 yards, with his longest one being 80 yards. Now, I had a problem yesterday. The problem I had was the hit that Ray Lewis, he put a hit on my Dancing with the Stars man, Hines Ward. Come on, Ray. Ray's an all-pro linebacker. One of the most feared men in the NFL. And everybody knows that. He plays hard. He's crazy out there. If you ever see any of his pregame speeches, during the game speeches, Ray is a little out of control. But he put a hit on Hines so bad yesterday, it knocked me off my seat, my couch in my living room. Come on, Ray. You don't have to hit him like that. But now this is really interesting because Hines is a tough guy. He is no pushover. Hines is taking a few people out in his day, too. He's not the guy to get in front of him when he's running with that ball. But I'm still waiting to see if there's going to be any penalty because the hit was clearly helmet to helmet. You saw him drop his head, and you heard it loud and clear. Come on, Ray. You don't need to prove anything. We know you got it like that. All pro. Well, college basketball started. We're going to enjoy that. NFL is going into another week. It's getting kind of sketchy now. We've got some teams that haven't even won a game yet. We've got some teams that look like they may be headed for the Super Bowl. But we'll see what happens. This is your girl, Hattie Lemon. And next up, Shanita Ward.
Today, let's talk about the good and bad in Sunday's NFL matchups. Let's start off with the bad. The Miami Dolphins completely destroyed the Kansas City Chiefs in a blowout of 31-3. Kansas City was coming off 4 consecutive wins. They had the big game against the San Diego Chargers in overtime where they won. So this game should have been in the bag. However, Miami completely blew them out. Miami outplayed and outscored the Chiefs, and this was due to Miami's quarterback, Matt Moore, who threw for 244 yards and 3 touchdown passes. This was in part because Kansas City's defense gave him the time and the space that he needed to find his teammates up the field and get the job done. Also, Reggie Bush ran for 92 yards and 1 touchdown to contribute to Miami's win against Kansas City. A very disappointing loss for the Chiefs, however, a great win for Miami in their first win of the season. So congratulations to Miami on their first win. Next, on to some good football. The Dallas Cowboys over the Seattle Seahawks, 23-13. Dallas was able to bounce back after a very disappointing loss, 7-34 against the Philadelphia Eagles last week. Both teams, Seattle and Dallas, started the first half with 2 field goals apiece. In the second half, Tony Romo was able to come out with 2 touchdown passes and put Dallas on top. Dallas' defense was also able to recover after failing to stop Michael Vick and LaShawn McCoy in last week's game. They held Seattle to only 1 touchdown in the fourth quarter. This was a good game to get Dallas back on track after the disappointing loss last week. On to my final mention of the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. New Orleans over Tampa Bay 27-16. New Orleans also suffered a disappointing loss last weekend against the St. Louis Rams, where they lost 31-21, giving the Rams their first win of the season. The success of New Orleans last night was due to Drew Brees, who passed for 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. The running backs combined for 195 yards, and also the New Orleans defense were able to hold Tampa Bay to only 1 touchdown in the fourth quarter. I thought in the fourth quarter Tampa Bay would be able to rally together and come back. However, the last-minute field goal by the New Orleans Saints put this game down. The Saints are still number 1 in the NFC South, and I'm personally looking forward to seeing Drew Brees and his New Orleans Saints against Matt Ryan and our Atlanta Falcons next week. With Julio Jones back in action, this should be the game to watch. I'm Shanita Ward, and that's my Sports Quickie. Now over to Karma.
What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Karma C, also known as Golden Locks, and today I'm going to educate you about being in the pocket. What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Karma C, aka Golden Locks, with your NFL education for all you new sports fans out there, new sports watchers out there like myself. I'm going to talk a little bit about what holding is on the defense and the offense. First, offense. Holding is grabbing on the outside of the jersey or tackling a defensive player from behind. Now, the penalty for that is 10 yards. This is the sign for holding, everybody. Now, holding on the defense side is a little different. It's grabbing or pulling after 5 yards of coverage from the line of scrimmage. So the defensive players, as long as they're in that 5 yards, they can try to pull down the receivers, but after the 5 yards, no can do. Probably end up being what I think is called pass interference. Moving on, I'm going to talk about false start. Now, this only applies to the offense, and that's when there's like a sudden movement before the snap. All right, this is the symbol for false start, and there's a penalty for that as well. And that, again, is before the ball is snapped. The penalty is 5 yards for that. Now, moving on to the pocket, my favorite. This is the area where the quarterback stands, where you have the offensive line, and you have the center, you have the guards, and then you have the tackles. Now, the quarterback, once the ball is snapped, is in that area that's between the left tackle and the right tackle. And it's the time that he has to pass the ball. Now, the offensive line is there to block the defense from coming in to get him. Now, the time in the pocket has to do with the amount of time that the quarterback has before he has to pass the ball and get rushed by the defense. So it really is up to the offensive line to hold the defense to give their quarterback the amount of time that he needs to make the play. And again, this is your girl, Karma C, with your NFL education for all you new sports watchers out there like myself. And now I'm going to hand it off to Pigskin Pixie Data.
everybody, it's your Pigskin Pixie here with this week's college football sports quickie. Well, I'd like to start with the bad news. I like to get bad news out of the way first, so let's discuss LSU versus Alabama, 9-6 final score. This game turned out in many ways, in a lot of ways, the way I thought it would turn out. I knew that it would be a very defensive game. I knew that they were very well matched. I called them mirror images last week, and I think the fact that nobody scored a touchdown kind of illustrates that point, or the point I was trying to make. I think we need to discuss the missed field goals before anybody else sends Cade Foster and Jeremy Shelley hate mail or attempts to murder them. When you look at the field goals that they missed, yes, it was a big deal. They were 44, 49, 50, and 52 yards attempted field goals. These are midfield kicks, fraction of an inch off your angle, you miss your trajectory, you don't make the kick, which, as we all know, they didn't. LSU wins with a 25-yard field goal, which is very common, nothing to write home about. And I feel that that is pretty much par for the course what we saw offensively from both teams, nothing to write home about. I do feel also that both teams shot themselves in the foot in the overtime session. Trent Richardson missing those two completions, the sub infraction. I think that McCarron gets sacked in the third down. And then you have LSU, Michael Ford, I believe, gets the ball and almost scores a touchdown, would have scored a touchdown had he not run out of bounds. So a lot of missed opportunities. It was just not a game that excited me very much on either end, even though I was supporting Alabama. It didn't excite me offensively. I felt that there were some massive holes defensively in both teams, and it's just kind of a cruncher, I guess. So I want to give you your word of the week in relation to this game, since I give you a word to think about weekly. This word's week is going to be threnody. Threnody is an ancient Greek word. It means poem of loss or mourning. I can think of no better word this week to offer our Alabama Crimson Tide, so let's use it in a sentence. Let's all leave Alabama to lick their wounds, write their threnodies, and remember that they still are one of the best teams in the country. Speaking of one of the best teams in the country, might be a little biased, how about some Georgia Bulldogs winning for the 7th consecutive game, something they have not done since that magical, epic, incendiary 2007 season. We're going to hope that they continue to do that. It was really a shutout, 63-16, a little embarrassing for New Mexico State, even though we didn't expect them to be much of a rival. By the end of the first half, you have Aaron Murray 18 of 23 with something like 238 yards. He took the second quarter off because he could, or second half off because he could. One thing that I would throw at anyone who says that New Mexico State wasn't much of a rival is that 9 separate Bulldog players scored on Saturday. So take that and shove it. We're going to see what we can do to Auburn this Saturday in Athens, and of course I will be there in support of my Georgia Bulldogs. Well, this has been your Pigskin Pixie with your weekly college football update. Everybody have a good week. I'll see you next time.
Hey, it's Carie Shore, your fabulous Ford, and we're ladies in the locker room. Today we're going to be discussing with Kenny Anderson about the new robotic, new age revolution, Blocko Man. And also, he'll be introducing his new line, Pass the Rod. All right, ladies, let's check him out. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kenny Anderson. How you doing today?
I'm great.
You had the launch yours for Mr. Blocko Man, so tell us about it.
It's great. It's a training device, and it was the first time that we brought it out on the court, and we worked. I trained with it, just working on your shots and all that. Blocko Man, block shots. So basically, I worked on different shots and jump shots, floaters, left hand layup, right hand layup. And Blocko Man, defended me. So that's what it's basically about.
How was the tip-off today? Your first start for launching out the product. So how was your feedback from the coaches and the college coaches as well, high school?
I had a few high school coaches come out. A few AAU coaches came out, and they had great response. And it's a no-brainer. It's a great training device. I really believe colleges, high school kids should definitely look into this and get it, purchase it, because it can only do wonders. After practice, you can work out by yourself, with Blocko Man, for an extra hour, working on different shots. As I know, being a 6'2"